Hello everyone, I'm very happy to have you here today and to share my knowledge about writing a perfect or at least a good CV. Before we start, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Polina. I work as a senior application consultant in MBA Strategy, and my primary responsibility is to guide my clients throughout the process of application to top business schools around the globe. And that is why most of these application packages include a CV as a key document. And I've seen lots of them. I edited like hundreds of CVs. That is why I have a piece of knowledge I'd like to share with you today. And regarding the format of today's workshop, I appreciate you, and I'll ask you to ask questions if you have some. Anytime you want, just raise your hand. If something is not clear, just ask questions, and let's make it like a dialogue, not only a lecture or something like that. It's a workshop. Okay, so let's start. My first question is to you. Do you think what is a CV and what is it for? Maybe you have some tips apart from the thing you have read on this slide. Anyone? Okay, maybe have you ever prepared a CV for any purpose, like for job applications or for something like that? Okay. And do you think what is it for? The purpose of the CV is to provide a decision maker, be it a university admissions officer or an employer or any other decision maker, with a snapshot about who you are, what you have achieved, and that is why it should be easy to scan. It should tell a chronological story of your academic and professional development, and it should focus on your achievements rather than duties and responsibilities. And the key purpose of all of that is to make you stand out from the others. Because, for example, getting back to my profession, my specialty, Harvard Business Schools have 10,000 applications every year, and only 900 places to be filled in. And that is why they have to find some unique applicants, because nearly 90% of those 10,000 are generally admissible because they have perfect test results, decent GPA, and so on and so forth. That is why CV is just another tool to make you stand out from others. And another thing that we will be relying on today during today's presentation, because who is it for? As the CV should be easy to scan, it should include just brief information. It should be generally one page. And that is why, as most of you are outstanding people with lots of achievements, lots of accomplishments, it can be quite difficult to put it in this quite short format. That is why you have to always consider who is the purpose, who is the decision maker you are addressing your resume. For example, if it's a Stanford professor, if you're applying to a PhD program or something like that, you should focus on your academic achievements and your academic accomplishments. And if it's a boss of a top corporation, you should highlight the skills and experiences that are relevant for this particular position. And now, regarding the format. You probably know who it is. This is just an example of the fact that every person is able to make his or her CV just one page long. Because I've seen, as I said, I've seen lots of resumes from students, from CEOs of large corporations, and in most cases, the first version of CV took like 7 pages or at least 5. It's too long. It's just a contradiction to this primary purpose to be easy to scan and to give a quick snapshot. No one has time to read like 6 pages of information because it's not relevant. And to tell you the truth, most employers and most admissions officers spend around 20 or 30 seconds to scan your resume, or sometimes even less, if they don't see any information, anything to catch you, to pay their attention. That is why you have to always consider what is important, what is the most relevant piece of information to be included. So you should weigh every word and never waste your space, because it's limited, like this room. And now we move to the building blocks or sections that create a good CV. Some of them are mandatory and some of them are optional. Again, it depends on the purpose. And the first section, which is totally the must, is your contact information. Here is mine, but of course it depends on you. And you should include your physical address, your email, your phone number, because again, it may sound strange, but not every people include this contact information. People put their marital status, their age, their nationality, but not any means of contact, which is not good. Because if someone prints out your CV or have it on a pile of any other applications, the first thing they want to know is how to contact you if they are interested. That is why just never forget to include your contact information. The next section is education. Well, given the purpose, if you're applying to a job, this section may be put after your work experience. And if you're applying to a university or for a master's program or a PhD program, it should be put right after your contact information. You should never forget about your dates, about name of the school, about your location, and so on. It's just the essential pieces of information. However, it may be not necessary. For example, if your CV is academically oriented, if you want to highlight your academic achievements, you may include something that you consider important, like your GPA, if it's perfect or it's higher than average, your participation in conferences, some relevant courseworks, maybe your diploma paper if it's outstanding. For example, I know people that who defended their diploma papers and were awarded as like the best diploma paper on the course. Why not putting it on the CV if it's relevant? But for example, if you are an executive with 15 years of experience, of course it's enough to leave only the essentials, because it will not be relevant anyway. And of course, you can include some additional qualifications which are not related to your university, or it may be some profession-related things like CPA, ACCA, and other qualifications that may be relevant both for your academic decision maker and for professional one. It doesn't really matter. If you have any questions on this point, just feel free to ask. Okay. Next, the next pivotal section is the must is your experience. And I would maybe spend some more time on talking about your work experience, because first of all you have to focus on your current employment, and it should make the most of your CV, because for each position, for each employment place, you can leave like from 3 to 5 bullet points that highlight your achievements, not only your duties, but the result of your work. But when it comes to some early employments or internships, some of you want to eliminate them at all, or just leave it as one row or something like that. Why I'm always highlighting that you should tell more about your accomplishments, not your job duties, because some jobs are pretty similar. For example, if you work as an analyst or in a bank, or like an account manager, your duties may be pretty similar to any other people who worked in this position. However, your results may make you stand out from others. That is why you have to include details, include some numbers, and strengthen your bullets, strengthen your accomplishments to highlight that you deserve your job offer, your university offer, and so on and so forth. And next thing, that when you craft your bullet points, you should always address the keywords, the key skills that your decision makers is looking for. Because, for example, when it comes to MBA applications, schools are looking not for your hard skills, like your ability to quickly prepare a report for your manager or like that. They're looking for your ability to innovate, to bring changes that optimize the work process, for your leadership abilities, and you should think a bit which particular examples may prove it. Because if you simply put that you are a good leader, no one will believe you. You have to prove it always with some relevant examples. Like, imagine that you completed a pivotal project and you coordinated a team of, let's say, 10 people that come from different countries with different backgrounds. And this would characterize you as a great communicator who is capable of optimizing processes in large international teams. And that is why it would be a great bullet to prove your abilities. And that's it. But if you're applying to a position that requires hard skills only, okay, your leadership abilities are not relevant here. That's why you should always consider these things. Getting back to the purpose, I will probably repeat it several more times. The purpose is the primary thing you have to keep in mind while deciding which points to include for this particular resume. Okay, now we have to ask questions. Since we have a pause here. Well, objective, it's like a summary section, like objective. It may be a point of doubt for me, because some people prefer to include this, some people don't. Because, for example, if you are sending a letter with, to a particular employer or to a particular school, you don't have to highlight your objective once again. They know that you are applying for this particular position or for this particular school or this particular program, so why do you want to spend this row stating your objective if you can put another accomplishment, another achievement instead of it? So I'm doubtful about it. Some schools or some employers, they have a template for their resumes, and if this template includes an objective, of course you should put it there. But it's absolutely not necessary. And if you raise these questions, I'm also going to tell you about the summary section. It's always one of the big waves of business schools applicants, of people who are applying to a job. Well, summary may be included after your contact information before your work experience. But some admission consultants and some people believe that, again, it's a waste of space, because if it's only one page, people will see these key points, and you don't have to repeat it again. But in some cases, it may be relevant. For example, if you are an executive, and executive CVs may be like 2 pages long, 3 pages long. That is why summary may be valid, as well as an objective.
At a time that musical school, have I to include it there?
This is the thing that I was going to tell further. Because yes, but in many cases, yes. If it's an application to a business school or to a university, such things that like your hobbies, especially some pivotal hobbies, like if you finished, if you graduated from music school, it means that you had a kind of commitment to it, that you contributed a lot of effort to graduate. It's a kind of accomplishment, and it characterizes you as a well-rounded personality. That's a valuable quality. That is why not? It may not be a separate section like my music school achievements. If not only you are applying to a music school. I had a student who was applying to a master's program in piano. Why not? But it may be included in additional information section. You're very welcome to do that.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you about writing a cover letter. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
What difference between cover letter applying for university and for a job? What difference?
Well, there are lots of differences. I would say that there are lots of difference between writing a cover letter for example, for Stanford University and for Chicago School of Business, because in each cover letter, like each resume, as I said, it depends on purpose. So cover letter, you may not write one single cover letter for even for 2 job applications, because they have well, some points, some paragraphs may be similar. Like, you are who you are. That is why you just give a quick snapshot of your goals, about your maybe accomplishments, and I like if I had a piece of a paper, a piece of paper, and I would write, I would draw a picture that, okay, that's you, that's you today, that's maybe that's you after achieving your goals, and this is the medium. The medium is either a school or an employer. For example, if you would like to become a top manager, well, this employer is a tool to help you to become a top manager in this particular company. That is why a cover letter, of course, it should demonstrate your the connection between your background and between the values of this company or this school, or between the means and tools the school or employer possesses to these common points of interest. This
How long it should be?
a cover letter, okay, I would say that it should be about 250 or 300 words. No more than that. One page is like the maximum, but I would say it should be half page long. In words, about 250 or 300. Yes. And it should supplement your CV. It shouldn't be a repetition of your resume, because in some cases they put your CV on the left, for example, your cover letter on the right, and they just supplement each other. So you don't have to repeat that. My name is, I graduated from my work as. They see it here in a separate document. So just tell them about your goals, about your objectives, as you said. That's like two pieces of puzzle.
Should I write about my hobby? Should I write about my hobbies?
In a cover letter?
Yeah.
Well, if you have some words left, if you consider it important, if it's something that is indispensable to create a whole image of your personality, it depends. I would say that in some cases it may be included, but in most of them it's not really necessary to tell about your hobbies. Well, if you're an Olympic champion, why not? But it's not a hobby again, it's a kind of occupation. Let's try. Yes. Yes. And this slide is about strengthening your bullets. Because as I said, that you have to include from 3 to 5 bullet points for each position, and when it's earlier positions, it may be 1 or 2, again, it depends. If you have only one employer, you may put each position to demonstrate your career growth, and there will be 3 to 5 bullets for each of these positions, even at the same employer. Yeah, my favorite phrase is it depends. But still, you should, as I said, you should include details that will be a proof of your accomplishments, of your skills and achievements. That is why these details will have you stand out from others, because the most common thing that among the most common things I've seen in the resumes was preparing reports. Okay, you prepared reports. What for? Which reports? How often? Who read these reports? Who needs this? It's pointless to include these bullets, because they don't reveal any information about you, no information about your skills. So just put details. It may be even the budgets of your particular projects if this information is not confidential. It may be names of companies. So like if you work in consulting, you have lots of big bosses, big clients, industry leaders. If you may include it in your resume, it will look quite great for it. Not just I help clients to do that. Okay, which clients, which budgets? It will characterize you as a better professional. That is why you always have to keep it in mind. Yes. Here we are coming to our additional information or optional sections. They combine about 1/3 of your resume, in fact. Okay. Again, these optional sections are named optional because it depends on your own experience, on your personality, on your hobbies, on your life. Again, which is important and which is not. And depending on the purpose, on the decision maker, it may be both included and not included. For example, competitions in awards. I would say that if you have lots of awards, especially if they're quite recent, why not include them? And in some cases, you always consider whether the experience or an award was recent and whether it was important. because some things, like if you won an all-Russian Olympic in any particular subjects, well, it's an accomplishment, it's an all-life accomplishment, you may include it. But again, it depends on the decision maker. But if you, for example, were awarded with a prize of a theater competition in the middle school, well, I would doubt to include it in your resume because it was too long time ago and it's not relevant to any purpose. Maybe if you're applying to a theater university, it's okay, but not for this. And here are just some examples of accomplishments you may include. These ones are mostly for students, but when it comes to professionals, it may be some professional awards as well. Why not include them? It's very welcome. Another section for students. I see that most of you are not students already, but still. For MBA applications, it may be also relevant because business schools value the habit of leadership. That is why you demonstrate that it's not like, yesterday I decided to become a leader. It demonstrates that you had this habit like throughout the whole of your life. And it's some examples of your initiative, your willingness to contribute. It's the thing that they value, because participation in contests, hosting some events at your university or even at high school, it demonstrates your willingness to go beyond your day-to-day responsibilities, your willingness to contribute. And that's probably the thing that is valued not only in universities, but in some companies with a strong corporate culture. So it may be included, maybe not as a separate section, but a short row may be relevant in this case. Next is the entrepreneurship section, because even some of my master's students, future master's students, prospective master's students who had some kind of entrepreneurship experiences even studying at university, we did include it in the CV and sometimes in a separate section, because it demonstrates their potential, their willingness to do something apart from just studies or just having a boring internship. And this is a characteristic of your personal and professional qualities. That is why not have it here. But another example, always consider your purpose. If you are going to apply to a large corporation, they may not value this entrepreneurship experience, and I had some cases when my clients asked me to exclude these sections at all, even if I thought that, well, it sounds like an achievement, but they thought, no, they won't like it, so just think about it. And again, I would like to highlight another point, that some people think that even small entrepreneurship experiences are not impressive. Like one of my clients that said that, well, I was just selling flowers during the International Women's Day. But in fact, it was not just selling flowers. They organized the whole logistics, like 3 days before the 8th of March. They found a supplier, they managed to sell everything, and it was really an accomplishment for a third-year student. That is why I said that we have to include it. We have to tell about it because it characterizes you as a strong and potential leader. Next thing is your international experience, which is especially valuable if you're applying to both an international company or to a university abroad. For example, the US universities value your international experience because it's your diversity. You're going to work or to study in a diverse environment with people who come from different countries, with different backgrounds, and your track record of international experience will characterize that you are able to communicate with such people, to approach them, to find solutions to fit their needs, for example. Like if you communicated with people from China trying to sell them a product or to have successful negotiation with them, why not? Why not? That is why it will be always relevant. And sometimes, if you are a student, you may include some English language courses. It's kind of a popular thing, especially for those people who come from top-tier universities like Higher School of Economics or Moscow State University. They usually have lots of English language courses, and we usually prefer to include them, just like as a single row or as a list. Doesn't matter, depends. But it is relevant. Some people think that it is not. Yes,
international experience should be the separate section.
No.
But what if it overlap with education or with internship, like an experience?
Oh, in this case, you just mentioned, as I said, when you write about your education, you include the location. That is why if you put a location, you don't have to put it in a separate section. For example, if you had an exchange semester, for example, in Europe, or if you finished your master's degree abroad, you will have it in your education section. It doesn't require any additional accent or something like that. If you worked in a company who sent you for a secondment or for an internship to like headquarters in New York, you may include 2 bullet points or 2 location in your experience section. But if it's not clear from your general, for your mandatory sections, it may be included in a separate one. Sports, my favorite thing. Again, in some cases, some of my applicants, some of my clients had a strong track record of participation in different sports. And both master students and MBA applicants, even executive MBA applicants, because I had a candidate master of sports or even Olympic champions. And in some cases, again, it may be the thing that you have to include in your CV, because, for example, if you were deeply engaged in sports during your university years, it may influence your GPA. That is why your grades, your final grades, may be lower than average for this particular university. And that is why if you have this section about sports, saying that, okay, you were a champion, you were a candidate master of sports, you tried different things, that may be an explanation for your lower grades, because schools and universities use a holistic approach to assessing each candidate, and that is why this section would be the thing you want to include in your resume. But if it's an employer who requires only hard skills, it may be just a hobby role, and nothing more than that. Okay. And the final thing is volunteering. This is especially important for business schools and university application because, again, it characterizes you as a well-rounded personality. And it may be also good to include in your applications to volunteering programs, which is a surprise, or to companies with a huge, which pays a lot of attention to social responsibility. That is why your volunteering experience may be a value for them. And it may be anything. It may be donations, maybe participation in visiting orphanages, it may be blood donation, anything. And some people not want to include this information because they think, okay, it's my private responsibility, it's my initiative, I don't want anyone else to know about it. It's your choice. But if you want, you feel free to do that. It's not prohibited. It will be very warmly welcomed, especially in international organizations. And it's not the final list of optional sections. Again, it depends. It depends on your personality. But I try to cover at least most of them. And as I said, that these optional sections would have around 1/3 of your one-page CV. And if it's 2 pages, if you are a senior executive, it would be, okay, let's count, 1/6 part of it. Now I would like to summarize a bit and give some short tips about what to do and what not to do when writing your CV. And the first thing, as I mentioned before, is that you always have to consider the relevance and you prioritize your achievements and accomplishments. There are 2 major criteria, which is how how relevant it is, like was it 1 year ago or 10 years ago, how important was it, how can you characterize the impact, the breadth of your impact or the depth of your impact in numbers, for example. And if these two major criteria are fulfilled, you should put it on top. And again, you will prioritize the rest of your activities using these criteria. Okay. I'm just thinking of what to include and what not to include. It's a really tough thing to decide which things will characterize this particular person, which will be present them, him or her in the best way. And as I value every word, as I spend hours, I may just I will want someone to proofread them after I did, because it just the first document that your decision maker will, and thing that you shouldn't do while writing your CV is the first thing that I will put a special accent on, is that do not make things up. Do not change any information. Do not inflate your achievements or change any dates, for example, because some of you might have any gaps in your work experience that are, well, in general, schools or employers want you to explain why you have gaps more than 3 months. And some applicants say, okay, I will just prove that I worked there a bit longer than I actually did. But again, when it comes to large companies or to business schools, they conduct background checks, and this may be a rigorous process. Sorry. And if they reveal that you put any information that is not true, first of all, they will cancel an offer they gave you if they did, and second, they will blacklist you. And that's definitely not the thing you want to happen. That is why I never make things up. I believe that, again, as all of you are outstanding personalities and you have a valid explanation about any gaps, about any maybe failures, because do not just try to present you better than you are. Of course, some things you may put any accents, like to emphasize some things, that to use different wording, like as I said, I was just selling flowers. Okay. And listen to another version of it. I organized the sales, wholesale flowers during International Women's Day, like coordinating the logistics with a team of 3 people. It sounds much better. It's not a lie in general, but it's just a different accent, you know. And next thing, do not provide any personal data. As I mentioned in the first section, people like to include their status, their age, height, weight, race, religion, instead of what is really important, which is your contact information. Okay, as I said again, some organizations, some schools have their templates where they want to include, for example, nationality, because some of them which value diversity in their classes, they may want to have some number, some percentage of international students. That is why they want to know your nationality first. But if you are not specifically asked about it, you are not, you don't need to include it. Regarding the paragraphs, as I said, you should include details and describe your experiences using some numbers, companies' names, but do not make it too long. In general, each bullet point should be like 2 or maximum 2.5 line lengths, no more than that. 2 lines is great, 1 line is also good, but not so long. And
just a second, coming back to personally, do you recommend to put photo at the beginning of CV?
again, it depends. My favorite phrase today. Some organizations and universities want you to include photos, and in general, you will not be. It will not make any worse if you put photos. But I would suggest you to conduct some research about this particular organization or university, because if they say that do not put photos, well, do not do that. If they say it directly, or if they write something about discrimination, like we do not discriminate our applicants That is why you would probably not, I would not advise you to include photos, because this would be a point of discrimination, for example. It depends. I prefer not to do that, but in some cases it may be fine. And regarding the cliches, like dynamic or multitasker or goal-oriented or purpose-oriented, effect, efficient, and lots of words like that. Well, you may include them again, but you have to prove it. You have to give a reason to believe why you're a multitasker. Or do not say directly that you're a multitasker. Just say that you combined 3 different projects at the same time. It would say the same thing, but it would provide a proof. You don't have to say that you are dynamic. Just say that your job includes like day-to-day meetings with clients of different level and scale, and it would again characterize your work as a dynamic without any specific word for it. Admissions officers and decision makers are clever enough to make their own conclusions, so in this case they just want to have a proof and not any words that you found in a guide which words to include. Okay?
Sorry to interrupt you, but I should wait for that. Can I ask my question now?
Yes, of course.
Any best resources to build my CV, book, website, writer?
Well, there is a guide created by Stacy Blackman, consulting company. I do not remember the exact name, but I get that if you Google Stacy Blackman CV guide, you will find what I mean, because they have some general recommendation about these mandatory sections, such as education, such as work experience. They have a list of action verbs, which are good to include. I guess they have hundreds of them. So it's a good point to start. It will definitely make your CV better if you scrutinize this guide. Mm-hmm. Okay. And last thing here is not turn your resume into a list of job duties. Focus on your achievements and accomplishments. In case if you are applying to a position that requires hard skills, as I mentioned before, you may include something that you did in a previous work. For instance, one of my clients is an accountant, and she wanted me to cover some areas of her expertise. For example, some taxes she worked with, some kinds of reports, some skills like she was familiar with different kinds of financial reporting systems. It's not just a list of duties, or otherwise it's relevant for her. And in this case, you may include this, but never forget about your achievements and your results. And probably that's it. Yeah, this was just a theoretical part of our presentation. And now you're welcome to ask any questions. If you have your resume today, I guess we have some time until at least 8:20, as I was said. So we will have some time both for this question and answer section and maybe for one-on-one talk. And you're always welcome to send your CV. I will give some brief comments to make them better. Sometimes I leave up to 20 comments for even one-page CV, but I'm merciless when it comes to giving a feedback. So you're really welcome. Even if all of you will send them to me, I will try to answer you as soon as possible. Maybe you have any questions? Yes?
You touched cover letters already. Could you have a more general question? In what cases cover letter is mandatory? In what cases it's optional?
I would say that if it's a high-skilled job, or if it's a application to a large corporation, you should always include at least a short cover letter. If it's a low-skilled job where everyone is generally admissible, well, cover letter is not necessary because they are okay. If you can write, you are hired, as my friend said once. But I would say that you should have a template for a cover letter and just modify it according to a particular employer or particular school. When it comes to school, they always require you to write an application essay or a personal statement, motivational letter. They call it differently, but it's generally a cover letter. But I would say that in 90% of cases, you should write at least a short letter to state your goals, to state the points of interest, to highlight something that may be valuable for this employer. And especially if you are career changers, for example, if you're aspiring to find a position in a similar industry or a completely different one, you should include your cover letter because they have like 10 seconds to review your CV and they see that your previous experience was absolutely not relevant to the position you're applying to. They may be confused, okay, why is he or she applying to this position? He's not the right fit for us. But your cover letter may really change your situation, at least guide you to an interview stage. You may say that, okay, even though I don't have any relevant experience, I have these skills, and apart from that I did this and that is why I think that I would succeed in your organization or at your university. That's it. Never miss an opportunity to present you because again, all the information they have, this decision maker, be it an employer or an admissions officer, is your resume and your cover letter, nothing else. The next step for them is to decide whether they want to communicate with you on the second stage or just to leave your application in the large pile of any others. That is why just use your opportunity. It won't take much time.
What kind of sites method looking for job abroad?
For job abroad.
For example, America and
Mm-hmm. I must admit that it's not a point of my expertise. I would advise you how to look for a university, for example, but not for a job. But maybe LinkedIn is the good point to start, even though it's not that easy to access it now, but it's possible. So I would try to search from this point. And in many companies, if you at least know the area of your expertise, of your desired position, at least maybe not a particular position, like I want to work as a senior consultant and at BCG. If your goals are not that particular, you may at least want that, okay, I want to work in this industry. Now the next step is to conduct research. Which companies are the leaders or which companies are middle tier in this industry? Now you go to their website looking for a vacancy page and so on. This process of research is quite, I would say that if you're looking for a job, it's your full-time job. you may spend hours even for one employer. And when I completed, again, getting back to university, but I guess that it may be true for job search as well. When you are looking for a school or university to apply to, you should spend around 10 hours for researching each school. Not all of them, not all of your choices, but to understand that this particular school or this particular program is a great fit for you. Well, 10 hours sounds like a huge amount of time, but I must say that to make the best choice you want, it's probably quite close to the truth.
Would it be acceptable to include a section like achievements or other achievements to mention like non-job related but faculty-related experiences? For instance, a non-profit project or something.
Yes, it's as I mentioned, the volunteering section. It's something about that. I would say that it always makes your profile shine brighter.
Would it be called like achievements or just what to call it?
Well, achievement is quite a strong word, and many people, especially from Russia and other countries, with a similar mentality, they don't like the word achievement because they say, okay, it's not an achievement. They consider that achievement is like winning another Russian competition or an Olympic medal. But I would say that these experiences characterize you as a well-rounded personality, as a person who has some interests apart from work, and these interests are, okay, let's say, socially acceptable, or they definitely characterize you positively. That is why if you have space, I would definitely advise you to include it.
May I ask one more question? You haven't mentioned like personal qualities section, which is usually recommended on websites. So would you say it is not necessary to speak about personal qualities on CV?
Which qualities, for example?
That's a good question. Like open-minded, for instance, if I'm applying to an international company, or broad-minded, or opt for diversity or something like that.
I would say that no, because it would be better if you demonstrate these personal qualities in your bullets. As I said, if you are open-minded, you may say that I coordinated an international team while performing this project that brought company like €1 million. Okay, this will characterize you as an open-minded and efficient person. Because if you don't put any reasons to believe, it's just an empty word.
So are there any qualities which would suffice to fit this section of personal qualities which are, well, good enough to be included separately?
Again, regarding the personal qualities, a compromise decision would be to make a summary section, which I was discussing before, because in this case you may say that I'm a professional with like N years of experience, open-minded, a great leader, and then after that your summary is like 3 or 4 rows long, no more than that, and then after the decision maker has an overview of who you are, he or she says, okay, here is a proof, another proof, another proof. In this case it's fine, but just making a list of these qualities without any proof, it's not the right strategy. It's not only my opinion, but generally, according to my experience. And in many cases, you don't have any free space left to include personal qualities as well.
Thank you.
In the template of CV of Elon Musk, like everything was on one page, but the size of words was small. So can we?
It's not the perfect format. I agree with you.
So how like is it possible to just make this size smaller, or it's not?
10 points is the smallest.
Okay.
By 12 or 11. Okay, from 10 to 12, it's fine. And regarding the fonts, in general, people use Times New Roman, Arial, Cambria. Some socially acceptable fonts, I would say, not like fancy ones. But there are exceptions, of course. There are always exceptions. If you are a designer, for example, or if you are an artist, you may design your CV in any way you want, because it will demonstrate your creativity. But if you are just a business school applicant, or if it's a job application, it may be considered not the best thing to do.
Thank you very much. Will you please tell what should I add to the CV if I plan to send it outside Russia, but I don't have permission for now to work in this country?
That's a tough question. Which country you're going to apply to?
For example, in USA or UK?
In these cases, I'm not an officer who is responsible for questions about getting a visa or something like that. But according to my knowledge, the employer have to put some efforts to get a visa for you, to get a job permission for you. That is why you have to put a lot of efforts to prove that you're a good candidate for this position, that you maybe that you are better than someone else from their country who is going to apply there. In some cases, companies want people with different backgrounds. For example, if they're going to expand their activities to Eastern Europe, they may want to hire a person with, for example, from Russia or from Ukraine, from Belarus. In this case, why not? They will help you to get a visa and guide you throughout the whole process. But these offers, these opportunities are rare, so you always have to monitor them.
Coming back to cover letter and the resume. Which document is looked first? Which one?
Well, again, it depends on the particular human resource manager. But if you're applying through an email, the first thing they will see is the text body, which is generally a cover letter. You don't have to include it in a separate document, or a separate PDF, or it will be included just in your email. That is why they will first read the email and then see your resume. I would say that this order is more preferable. That is why your cover letter comes first and then comes your CV. But some companies require you to submit the CV only and then supplement it with the cover letter. So in this case, the CV will come first and then the cover letter. So again, there is no universal recommendation about it. But you have to modify your documents according to this information. Or otherwise, you may try to design your CV and your cover letter in this way to make the order of reviewing these documents just not important. So it doesn't matter which document will be viewed first.
As you mentioned, PDF format, so which format is most acceptable? Is it RTF, as some resources mentioned?
PDF is the most common one. RTF is good as well, not the doc, I would say, because if you're sending it in doc, in Microsoft Word document, you have a huge risk that your beautiful tables, that your perfect formatting will be just destroyed. Because it's such a big surprise when you open your document created in Microsoft Word on another computer, even with the same operating system, with the same version of Microsoft Word, and it looks differently. That is why I would say that PDF is the safest choice in this case. Any other questions? Maybe someone wants to share some piece of information about you, because I'm so interested. I talked to you so much, and I'm really wondering what is your purpose, what are your plans, and if it's just a workshop. It's not my lecture. So if you want to tell something, you're welcome.
I think the problem with CV is that you are sending it, and either you receive some feedback, or probably positive, you are invited to the interview, or you receive no information. So it's difficult to judge if your CV is not good or not good, because you don't, in most cases, you don't receive any feedback. You don't receive any feedback from employer. You are not qualified because your CV is something like that. You don't like it. Please change it.
Yes. Thank you very much for this notice, because I wanted to mention one more thing and I forgot about it. But some large corporations, they don't have any human resource managers at all. The first stage of checking your CV will be performed by robots. I was so surprised to know about it, because one of my friends was applying to Emirates, I guess, some of these airlines. And he learned that they have a algorithm or script that checks whether your CV, whether the words you included in your bullet descriptions fits with the keywords mentioned in the job description posted on the website. That is why, in this case, you have to read the job description first to highlight the keywords, the key skills they want to see in an ideal candidate, and then modify the wording of your bullets to fit, to satisfy the robot requirements. And only after you pass this first stage, the real person will review your CV again. And as you said, you did not receive any feedback. The robot said no, so you're declined, and that may be a problem. But I said before that looking for a job or applying to, looking for a job is a kind of full-time job, because you may send hundreds of applications and receive about 10 invitations to an interview, and this would be quite a high percentage, in fact, because some companies, especially large ones, have lots of applications, and like in business schools, like Harvard Business School, most of them are generally admissible, and you don't know why they said no, why, and so on. And in some cases, they may make a job posting not for actually find the people to fit this position. They just want to make research regarding the interest to their particular company, to this position. They are not hiring, they just want to know whether people are interested or not. It may sound quite painful, but that's true. So if you are determined to find a job, you have to send your CV and send again to modify it to fit the needs to this particular position, and then to modify it again for another employer. That's a kind of tough job. And you have to write another cover letter. That's not an easy thing. But of course, if you are an exceptional professional, like one in the whole industry, I had some clients as well. Maybe they don't even need a CV, but this, in most cases, is an exception. But in this tough process of looking for a job, you should always make sure that you did everything you could, that you demonstrated your accomplishments, that you mentioned everything that characterizes your personal and professional qualities, or your academic achievements if it's a university application. And in this case, you may be fully satisfied with what you have done, because I have lots of brilliant business school candidates with the GMAT score. If you are familiar with this test, I would say that the maximum point is 800 points, and she had about 750, which is the 97th percentile. It means that she's the top 3% in the world who passed this test. She had lots of accomplishments. Master's degree. It doesn't want me to speak at all. She had lots of accomplishments, high GPA, secondment in Austria, master's degree completed in the UK, but she was declined in 5 schools out of 8, but she was accepted to Wharton. So it's not about your candidacy, it's not that about the fact that you are worse than the average candidate they want to see. It just, it may be just luck, or good luck, or bad luck. All the thing you can do is just to follow some recommendations, to make everything you can to make your CV easy to scan, to tell your story in a chronological order, and I would specifically highlight that it should be in reverse chronological order, so you should start from the most recent experiences, to highlight your achievements, and that's it. So just believe in yourself, as people like to tell as well. That's it.
I wanted to know your opinion about following. I found the company through the website, and they did not declare any vacancies. But my point of view, I can fit the activities. My expertise will be good for them, will be beneficial. So does it make sense from your point of view to be proactive and to send a resume?
Yes.
That's question number one.
Mm-hmm.
You have a second one?
Yeah.
Okay. I will answer this question, so and then you will ask the second one. Yes, totally. First of all, you do not lose anything if you send a letter with your resume. But in these cases, if the company doesn't have any postings on their website, they usually do not share any contacts. But the thing you can do is to go to LinkedIn to find people who work in this company. In the best case, it may be the HR manager or any other decision maker, and you can try to build a first contact with them. It's again, you are not losing anything. You just try to share your expertise, to share your willingness, to share your drive that you want to contribute your skills, your experiences, and your knowledge to this particular company. And even if they don't have any vacancies, they will keep you in mind if they have. So yes, totally.
And the second question that be related to the first one, when you apply, and 2 days after you receive an email from the head of the HR saying we are so much impressed by your resume, so much impressed by your experience, but right now we're not planning this position, say that we will have it in the future in our files. Is it a way to say no, or do they really keep it? What do you think?
Whoa.
Future vacancies.
No. I don't know. I don't have a clear answer to this question, because in some cases it may be that they really want you to have someone like you in the future, but in some cases it's just a polite version of saying no. Not a universal answer to this question, sorry, because it always depends. I had some cases when people were waitlisted, but then after that they were accepted, both to schools or to their jobs. But in some cases, it's just, again, it's a polite way to say, sorry, you're not the right fit for us. So just keep on going and keep searching. But okay, if you are highly motivated to work only in this company, you may try again. But if you consider any other opportunities, just keep on going. If they want to have you, they will get back to you anyway.
In case if I want to change atmosphere and I want to a position that don't relate to my experience, so like you already told that it's better to write it in the cover letter, but should we put the experience that we have, but it's not related? Because right now I have a problem that all the offers that I have or environments to interview, everything is related to the experience that I have, but so it's is in the what to do for this? Because if you don't have experience, you can't find. You can change your field.
Could you specify maybe these spheres? So I would try to give you a more personalized.
Working for a pharmaceutical company, but just in different positions, different medical or marketing, for example.
So now you're working in
from medical to more.
In this case, you should modify your bullets again and to think which points of your expertise, which accomplishments, which results of your previous work are relevant for the marketing industry or the marketing sector. For example, if you promoted some goods, or if you, for instance, wrote posts for the company Facebook page, or something on the marketing related activities, at least a bit of them. You may try to modify these points to prove that at least some of your experience may sound relevant. You should not eliminate all the things you've done. You just think that which skills and which points of your expertise may be relevant to succeed in this position. It's a vicious circle. Sorry. But still, where do I stop? And, another thing you can do right now. I'm too powerful to for this microphone. Some employers also value your initiative, that you are not simply just, yesterday I thought that I want to work in marketing. You may start completing any courses. Even Coursera is valued for some employers. Or maybe some brick and mortar courses related to this new field. But in any case, I should admit that most probably you have to start from entry-level positions, or at least like level 2 positions. That they maybe your career growth in this new field will be much faster than the growth of those people who came right after university. But you, in any case, you'll have to prove that your skills, your drive, your motivation is strong enough to succeed. And they have to understand if it's true or not. So just modify your bullets, try to include something that may be related to marketing or may be valuable in this field, and then keep on going, keep on searching. I may have, I can tell you about my own example. I am a career changer. I changed from selling furniture as a development manager at one small company, and then became an educational consultant, and they didn't know that I'm a good writer or I may communicate with people and so on, because it was not clear from my previous experience. Well, I completed a test assignment, but my first position there was an intern, of course, because everyone starts from it. But now, just a few years passed, and I managed to achieve a much higher position there, just using my hard work and my willingness to demonstrate that I may be able to succeed in this role. But it was a career change, just quite a big one, quite an important one, which required different skills and different competencies.
Back to the problem of cover letters. You mentioned a good book, How to Write a Perfect CV, and How to Write a Perfect Cover Letter. Any literature related to that?
Well, I have to make some research about it, because I definitely get lots of literature, but I would say that some admissions consultants companies have lots of materials about it. Sometimes these articles are repetitive, but in most cases they're quite fine. And another thing to consider is MBA career centers. Most of them have lots of materials in open access, because they are, I would just clarify that business schools have a purpose to find an employment for their graduates right like 3 months after they finish their program. That is why they have strong career centers, and these career centers have lots of materials like how to write a CV, CV templates, how to approach your employer, how to perform during a job interview. So you may research some top business schools for this information, and it will be always up to date, and you may just make some research about these particular employers, which hire people from that schools. That's it. But of course, there are lots of business literature. But as for me, the Stacy Black's materials are quite a gold standard for me, because I started from them, and it always put quite in brief form, but very informative. They also have another book called Creating Your Personal Brand. It is also a good one because it helps you to, well, I don't like to tell it in this form, but to sell yourself to an employer. To understand, to conduct some brainstorm with yourself, which qualities are important, because some people are just so humble to even writing a CV and stating all of their accomplishments may be a tough thing for them, because they think, oh, all the things I've done were just so ordinary. There was nothing special I've done in my previous job or at university. But if they start talking to their friends, to their colleagues, they may discover lots of interesting things. And many successful applicants do that. They do not limit themselves just to thinking what they have done, because to sell yourself, to define which qualities are your strengths, which you want to highlight in all of your documents, be it a CV, be it a cover letter, or be it just an interview when you have to tell about why. Like, my favorite question is, why are you the best candidate for this position? And you have to say that first I am first thing, second I am because, third I am because. That's another template for an interview as well. So that's it.
Can you also say a few words about preferences?
Okay. Regarding the references, some people prefer to include references on the bottom of their CVs, but in some cases, again, it's not necessary, but you may do that. Of course, but what particularly would you like to know about it? Because I can also say, tell you a lot about it, but what is the key point of interest?
Just interesting because some templates include space for references, some do not. Does it make sense? Does it give any additional value?
If the template includes a reference section, you should include that as well. It's quite obvious, but if it doesn't, in most cases, your job application is a quite a long process. It includes several stages. The first one is the CV review, second one is an interview, or maybe another interview. And only on the final stage, they require some references from you, which is usually just a telephone number or an email or anything else. But if they want to have some references, they will ask you about it. If they want to know it at the very beginning, like putting it in a template, of course include it, but otherwise it's not necessary, because if they do not see that you are the right fit for them, having information from your CV, in this case any references will have no value for them, because first of all it all starts with you, not with your reference. It's all about your skills, about your experience, about whether you're the right fit or not.
If I had, for example, a gap in my professional experience, should I explain why it happened and how can I explain it? Should I say the truth? Maybe admit some courses they attended where I wasn't working.
When it comes to a CV, you don't have to put a particular piece of textual information. Let's say, okay, see here, I have a gap, and this is because I did this. No, you just put your experience in chronological order. Like you said that I was working in company A from 2014 to 2015. And then I started working at the company B from January to 2017. So here is a 1 year gap. But if you have the courses you attended in your education section that were completed into 2016, you don't have to make any extra explanations. But if your gap is not covered anywhere in your CV, well, you may be asked about it during your job interview. Because especially when it comes to, but not only about women in that, but some people have a long gap due to maternity leave, or due to the fact that they have to take care of their child, or any other personal circumstances that you do not have to highlight in your resume. That's it. If they ask, of course you can tell. If this truth doesn't spoil an impression about you, you should always tell the truth. Do not make things up, as I said before.
One more question. I can share one trip which I experienced during one of the interviews. In the job description, it was mentioned like 20% of time traveling. And during the interview asked me, I'm ready to travel like 90% of your working time. And so, well, I didn't say no, but I was quite, not sure what to answer. And what I felt that the interview was quite disappointed. Did he expect me to say yes, of course, I'm ready to travel 90% of the time? Because in the job description it was not 90%, it's not 90%, it's not up to 20%.
Yeah, it depends on the context, but if in a similar situation, I would say that, of course, I'm ready to travel both 20% of time and 90% of time, anything you want from me. If it was about, if it was true, if you're really ready to travel like 90% of your time, why not?
Was it not really 90%?
I would mention that the job description was different from this, from the thing that you were discussing there, because maybe they wanted to test whether you were attentive enough to read the job description fully. Maybe not. Maybe they were just trying to attract you with this percentage, and in fact it was quite different, because unfortunately it's quite a common practice when job description doesn't fit with the truth that the employers go into offer to you. But in this case, I would mention that the job description was different. But not trying to offend them or to accuse them. Oh, you are lying to me. You said that I'm going to travel in 20% of my time. But I would just mention it in just a polite way. If you do not have any other questions, again, you are very, very welcome to send your CV to me, to communicate with me by email. I'm happy to answer any questions, because some of you may be humble, some of you don't want to share any private piece of information, I don't know. But anyway, you are very, very welcome to contact me. And I will help you to make your CV at least better, but it's only for you, for your goals, for your purposes. And thank you very much for your attention, because I was so nervous, and maybe I could perform it better and share some more information, but anyway, I tried as I can, and thank you very, very much, because you were very attentive listeners, and I really appreciate it. So thank you very much.